Without wasting much time, I would like to start off from you, Prince Francis Chilaka. What do you make of this, that the people or soldiers do allegedly, because the CDS is yet to tell us what is really happening, what happened in Yola and all that. We learned that 9 persons were killed when people were protesting the killings and kidnapping in their community. What do you have to say about this, please?
When you have a situation that an issue keeps reoccurring and you don't take decisive steps to curb it, it becomes a norm. Between the Nigerian military and the public, there has been this frosty relationship. Unfortunately, at every turn, the military takes out its frustration on the public rather than channel it in the right direction. In 2015, you remember what happened between Buratai and I think the Shiite Muslims in Kaduna. And the claim was that, they blocked the path where he was supposed to pass and they opened fire. And then you ask, when the military begins to open fire on harmless, unarmed civilians, it simply shows you that there's a break in communication between the people and those who govern them. Till date, nobody punished Buratai for doing that, because he took the laws into his hands.
Now, how do we get to this point? Of course, the women that were protesting in Yola were protesting the kidnapping, the fact that their communities are no longer safe, and they were chanting. They don't have any arms.
I'm coming to that. I said we're allowing illegality to become legal. Okoma is there. You find out that each time there is a misunderstanding between the military and the community, the military goes to wipe out. It started with Obasanjo. Zakibian. So a lot of these things have played out, and it has become a norm because the military feel that, they have arms. And so the people must run from them.
Why should we invite the military to go into the community for peacekeeping? Why should they do it? Because that was what happened in Okoma that led to the killings of the military, which, further led to a president.
Because you do not have enough policemen to do the job.
What happened to the civil defense?
No.
Because they are not bearing arms.
It's the police. You have your policemen. The presidency has given a directive asking policemen to be called back from protecting VIPs. Is it not shameful that your IG will come on TV and say, if you see, report? Is it not shameful that the police command will station people on the road at the airport to arrest their own? It simply shows you that the police do not even have a database of their personnel. So the problem is the fact that the institution is not working. Institutions that are meant to work in this country are not working. And as long as these institutions do not work, nothing would, be in the right place. So, these are women. Women, we're not even talking that, we're not even saying that they are youths. Do you know the number of youths that the military have killed? The last I checked, Amnesty International said about 10,000 youths have disappeared in the hands of the military. But rather than punish those who should be punished, you give them ambassadorial appointments. You elevate them. So it means that everybody will do the same. So why would a military people, military officers going for peacekeeping begin to shoot at women? You open fire at women. That is the height of impunity. It's a disgrace. But yet, nobody has said anything about it. Our president is quick to go to Benin Republic. We have insurgents in Nigeria, ravaging, running wild. You have not used the same might you use in going to Benin to subdue them. You leave your house that is burning and you're going to quench that of your neighbor.
Interpretation of the moment. Could it be? I'm just trying to make excuses now. Could it be that there was a threat that was perceived.
What kind of
that
threat? Is Nigeria?
led
Are we in Palestine?
the
Are you not saying that Nigeria has become like the Hamas, where women, cloud themselves with bomb and all of that? No, Nigeria has not gotten that bad. So when people say, threat to what?
perceived threat?
Let me tell you, the problem we have is that Nigerians have become so used to the military that they have no value for the military. And the military, they have lost respect of the people.
They don't have value for the military, or
They have
a sense of fear over the military.
There's no fear anymore.
Not respect, but
Let
fear.
me tell you, before now, when you see a military man on the street, you respect him. You hold back.
Exactly my point.
But the point is this.
What we see now is fear, not respect.
We don't even see the fear. We don't even see anything.
No, I mean Nigerians. What do they have for the military? Is it respect or fear?
Is it, you can call it no respect, it's fear.
Okay.
But that fear now is also eluding. Go to my 2. It's not far. Go to my 2. You see area boys standing on the bridge there, harassing people who go to the port to clear their cars. And if you see a military man and you try to talk to the military man itself will first of all run, because he does not trust what will happen to him with those boys. But it wasn't like this before.
Okay, Elvis, let's have your reaction to what happened at Lamode the other day, yesterday. What's your reaction? How did it hit you, when you got the news?
I felt bad. It's pathetic, especially when it has to do with women. And these women have been terrorized for some time, and they were protesting because they were not covered. There was no protection for them. And the only way they feel they can air their grievances was just to come out. You see, they were holding leaves. That shows sign of peace. They were not out for anything like violence or anything like, we want to destroy. They were just lamenting the situation they find themselves. Unfortunately, the people they so believe in that, maybe this can even be of help. We are even people that came and opened fire on them. That's why I felt so bad about the whole situation. Like he has said, we had this kind of situation sometimes with the Zazaki people. See, today, that matter is still on. You see them coming out to the street in Abuja and even in Kano. We have OD that was leveled during Obasanjo's time in Delta. We have had so many of these. We have the Zakibia in Benue. So many of these with our military.
In the military tradition, who should be held responsible? Is it the brigade commander or that they were escorting, or is it the soldiers?
No, definitely.
What will happen in terms of court martial? Who should be held
responsible?
The
brigade commander must be called out, because he is the one that has his boys. Then his boys, he should be able to fish out, because as a senior officer, a brigade commander, you are not supposed to. He's supposed to have known the ethics of his job. Descending to so low to that extent, releasing arms, live bullet on women. The brigade commander, before you pick, by the time you pick, my people always have a program. They said when you pick the mother hen, you use your hand to round up the chicks. Pick the brigade commander, then every other officer, junior ranking officers around him that carried out these men, they all be court-martialed and used as example for others. We are counting numbers here now.
Opinion that the shooting happened maybe in self-defense, juxtaposing that with what played out with the brigade commander Sani Uba, who was killed, after he called his team to say this is what happened and all of that. And now it's more like the military are beginning to, become a bit apprehensive, and that was what
Uba found himself in the midst of terrorists. This military, the brigade commander, no matter how this picture is painted, found himself in the midst of women, unarmed women, harmless women. The correlation has nothing to compare at all. These were just women, helpless, and they were carrying leave, telling the world that they are helpless. They need help from even the government that kits the military, the government that with the women that pay the taxes for the military to be kitted and taken care of, and now the military that now started releasing a live bullet on them. It's
let me quickly add this. We like to cover things up in this country. We remember what happened with the NSAS, even though we try not to talk about NSAS. But we remember what happened with the NSAS, where it was finally agreed that the military opened fire. Why is it that our Nigerian military officers are trigger happy? Why? We need to know why.
That's a very important question there, but looking for answers to that question is the issue. Why? Why do we have trigger-happy officers? And who brings them to book, really? That's the big question. Because in a lot of cases, we don't see, the people don't get to see these perpetrators being brought to book. We hear that they are court-martialed, some of them take their ranks taken up, but is that enough for the lives lost? Well, let's take this conversation to our virtual guest, Mazi David Ihomanel. Now, what becomes, good morning to you. Let's establish communication first. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you join the conversation this morning. Now, very simple question. What becomes of a people when their protectors have turned out to be their tormentors? What becomes of a people?
Well, the fact is that the Nigerian army has exhibited this tendency of killing unarmed protesters. Right from the time that the IPOB members were protesting up to the point of the NSAS protest. One could recall that when the NSAS protest became violent was when the Nigerian army killed the unarmed protesters in Lekki Toll Gate. And that culture and impunity of Nigerian army is killing citizens who are just protesting without any punishment meted to them, has made them kill people extrajudicially without any accountability. And such cannot be condoned in a democratic setting. Everybody must be held accountable to any life that is lost by his act or omission. Because we understand that the circumstances where a person can take life is where there is insurrection or in defense of self. That is where you can willfully take someone's life outside the recommended means through judicial process, because only the court that can pronounce that someone life should be taken and such person's life is taken. So aside this, any other means through which any person's life is taken must be held accountable before the law. So the Nigerian military has nurtured this culture of killing unarmed protesters, and such must be rebuked and restrained with reasonable forces of law.
Mazi, some persons are of the opinion that military, they are peculiar people with, training and all that, and they are not trained to be inside Nigeria or inside any country, but to man the external borders and make sure that they protect what is happening within. What do you have to say about the fact that we have military personnel littered everywhere? Not like putting checkpoints and all that. From Lagos to the south, you have multiple checkpoints and all that. And we have seen them use the fist curve, the strong training they must have gained during the drills and all that on civilians. Why do we have them everywhere? Why do we have military being sent for peacekeeping?
Well, the Nigerian military has been overstretched. Normally, they ought to have not been their responsibility to mount on checkpoints and maybe to maintain internal peace. It is the duty of the police to maintain internal peace. That is why the creation of state police become inevitable in this time, because the Nigerian armed forces, we are not meant to maintain internal unrest, but external protection of the Nigerian border from any intruders or any aggression from the neighboring countries. But because that we have a weak security system, that is why Nigerian armed forces were deployed to maintain internal peace. But the Minister of Defense recently has ordered that all the military officers on the roads should be withdrawn and be placed in places where their service is extremely needed. That Nigerian police should be allowed that responsibility to mount on checkpoints or maintain peace within the cities. So I think it's the right thing that the state police should be, the bill that seeks to establish state police should be established, so that the state can now have the requisite capacity to employ people like security agents that can now mount and checkmate the criminal activities within the centers than employing the services of military men to mount checkpoints or maintain.
All right, I would have loved to ask you, from the angle of the law, who can fight for this and who should be held responsible. But I'll probably come back to that question if time allows us. But let's bring this back to the studio now. Prince Francis Chilaka. Now, I know you don't speak for the military. Neither do you speak for the government, but as an analyst, you've seen a few things, you've observed a few things. But how often do you think psychiatric tests should be carried out on persons that bear arms to ensure that we don't see things like
It
this?
should be a continuum. I mean, it shouldn't be something you would
Shouldn't be
regulate.
made public. Should such things, because we've seen policemen, we've seen soldiers lose their mind and kill their partners. We've seen issues like that.
Not only the soldiers, the police are doing it. A few, I think it was last week or so, the CG of Customs, Adeni, said something that I applauded. He said they're going to be carrying out drug tests on men and women of the Customs Service. We need it in the army, we need it in the police. Ordinarily, every arm of this security should have a special unit that carries out evaluation, that carries out tests, that they go to visit the psychologist. Do we have it? Do we have it? We must, you see, while all this is going on, we must also look at these are military men, these are security personnel. What is their life like? Where do they live?
Can that be a contributing factor?
It is.
For them to shoot innocent people instead of shooting terrorists.
No. See, a lot of things play out. And we must all be honest with ourselves. You can't give what you don't have. It's as simple
So
as it
living
is.
conditions could make them
A
go
living
insane.
condition can make you go insane. The salary you earn can make you go insane. Sometimes have you ever had to sit down with the rank and file in the Nigerian army or the Nigerian police for them to tell you what they are going through? You will know that they need more psychiatric evaluation than those in the psychiatric homes. You are protecting a man who sleeps in an air-conditioned room, he enters an air-conditioned car, he enters an air-conditioned office, he eats the best of the food, drinks the choice wine, and where do you sleep? Sometimes you sleep where the mosquitoes would feast on you, and you want that person to be normal.
Exactly the point. Now, instead of going against the very people that oppress them, they go against innocent civilians. That's the question.
Because that's where you go to where your strength lies.
Okay, now Prince, let's bring in our guest from Oka. He is Chukwuoba. Chukwuoba is a knight of St. Christopher. He's a blogger, good governance advocate, and public affairs analyst. Good morning, Mr. Chukwuoba, and thanks for joining us on VOP this morning. Okay, you need to unmute your mic so that I can get your audio feed.
Good morning.
Beautiful, Chuka. Good to see you. Good to see you again. Now we having a situation in Adamawa State, Lamude area, to be very particular, and we saw soldiers escorting their boss, the brigade commander, unleash terror on innocent women. I'm sure you have followed the conversation for a while. So let's have your reaction. What do you think? What should we do? Who should we hold responsible?
Well, it is very bad when Nigerian government employs cultists into the armed forces. When cultists are employed into the security system of a country, that's what keeps happening. Because I don't know why any right-thinking human being who underwent training and who went to school would openly shoot protesters who weren't armed, protesters who were not causing unrest. So it is very bad. You see that it just explains to you the characters that Nigerian government employ, recruit into the security system of the country. That's why it is always good, because if you see these policemen, these military men that take laws into their own hands, that go all the way.
It's an interesting angle that you've brought to this, Chika. It's a very interesting angle, especially seeing that there's a call for about 20,000 more recruits into the police force. Are we, without addressing the usage of arms, the mindsets of those that bear these arms, are we likely to see more problems? We also bear in mind.
Yes.
Also bear in mind that there's a conversation going on around road safety personnel bearing arms as well. Are we, if that passes through, are we going to see a bigger problem on our hands?
I will bear arms too. I may have to bear arms too, because there are so much proliferations of firearms in Nigeria. So there are too much arms out there in our society, and it is not good. So, like one of the discussants there stated, it is very bad that Nigerian army can be seen on our roads everywhere. Nigerian army does not curry respect again. They do not enjoy fear. You see, so because before you could find military men passing, then not a common sight. But today, you see that military men do the jobs of police, do the jobs of civil defense. They behave as though they are no longer poised to protecting the Nigerian state. You see it? So it is very unfortunate. There is no need recruiting anyone again into the armed forces.
You think so?
Those who have been recruited already are not living up to expectation.
Okay.
Their welfare is very bad. Government does not take care of them. That is the truth.
Okay.
Government does not even care, and VIPs now make use of them as though they are their personal assistants. So it is very bad. There should be no further recruitment until the ones we already have are taken good care of, retrained, and in fact, they need serious work.
Training and retraining, indeed. That's the president also spoke about rejigging the training institutions of the police and maybe some other military agencies as well. Let me bring Mr. Elvis back into this conversation. Basically, the issue about recruits, and we know how some of these people come about. Some of them are just people with no formal training, no people who are ruffians in the neighborhood, and then they get drafted into the military, the police, and the rest of them. And then with this 20,000 that we are having, that the president has ordered to be recruited, and the usage of arms, what can we do? Let's look for a solution. Now, we know the problem. What can we do to ensure that things like this don't occur again?
Yeah, it's even very fearful now, because the rate at which we are desperate to get these 20,000 now, because the president has made pronouncement that we should open up the flank to recruit. And in Nigeria, we don't always get the best when it comes to matter of this nature.
That's enlightening.
Yes, because before now, politicians will begin to bring some of their foot soldiers who were trained as thugs for them. Imagine somebody who is a thug for a politician, carrying probably pump action before. And now he's going to be recruited into the police.
In AK-47.
And he's going to be given AK-47. Now he has a better license to have a better
authority to shoot.
And now to face Nigerians, whom he was also terrorizing with a pump action before. You can imagine how that is going to be when these guys are not monitored well, when they are not well adequately trained. The president is talking about renovating the training institutions around. They release money and they will be touring around. It's not just renovating the buildings. The people that are coming to be trained in those buildings must also go through that renovation. They must also go through that adequate training and rehabilitation, because most of the people you pick from the street now, all in the name of want to get this 20,000, they are not going to be the best. We said something like that last time, because the hurriedness in picking them now, and the politicians are going to make recommendations. Definitely, they are going to make us. We saw what happened in Okota during the governorship presidential election in 2023, when we saw talks came out. Those are the people that you are going to see now. Sometimes when you see some of Nigerian security personnel outside, you take a closer look at them. You see, how did this one get into this force? Just look at the way they look haggard. Look at the way that some of them, even before they leave home, they are on drug, or they are even on this, they are baraga or whatever. Is that how it's supposed to be? And you get to the office, you sign for a gun, and you are going to meet civilians on the street, armless civilians on the street, and you've already taken some of these substances at home before you go and sign for a gun. Is that part of the training? These are some of the things the training should really emphasize on, so that we don't have more of this. Tomorrow, Amnesty International will release the Nigerian Armed Forces infraction against the civilian. They'll be denying it. But these are obvious facts, what we are seeing now.
Okay, Prince, we are dwelling on insecurity now, so I want to expand it a bit. But we had a debate the other day on my show, and we talked about Christopher Musa, the new Minister of Defense. As CDS and Minister of Defense, where do you think that he will have more powers to fight insecurity?
Well, as a Minister of Defense, it goes it's no longer to the military.
Okay.
Not only attached to the army, where he originally comes from. So now he has a broader responsibility. Okay. And that broader responsibility means that we are expecting him to bring the experience he has garnered over time, the money we spent on training him and kitting him. We expect him to bring it to play.
Okay, let me be more direct in my question. Where do you think that he is more powerful, as Minister of Defense or as Chief of Defense Staff?
More as a Minister of Defense.
More as a Minister of Defense. Okay, so
because as a minister, every other person comes to him. It's like the NSA.
Okay.
But for me, an NSA is an aberration. We shouldn't have it in the first place.
Others do.
We shouldn't have it.
But others do.
Because when you have an NSA that is compromised, for instance, the whole system is compromised. Because the NSA is the one who goes directly to Mr. President. All the security report comes to him. So you need a man of honor and proven integrity.
Okay, so under the situation that people in Adamawa found themselves the other day, what do you expect the Minister of Defense to do?
When you talk about the killings?
Yes, the killings.
Well, you expect
and also understand that these people were responding, they were reacting to a certain militia, that has ravaged their area. In the light of all of this, what are expectations from the Minister of Defense?
What I expect from the Minister of Defense is professionalism. Right now, I expect him to, the brigade commander should be arrested. It's very important. You need to instill discipline in the system. And that discipline starts from the head. When you arrest brigade commander and you put him through rigorous interrogation and get him punished, I am telling you, those following behind will learn from it.
So who should order the arrest?
It's the Minister of Defense.
Or the Chief of Army Staff or Chief of Defense?
Well, it comes from Chief of Army Staff to the Minister of Defense. We see, the problem we're having is lack of discipline. And that indiscipline, as far as I'm concerned, runs across all our security apparatus. And that's why I said, is it proper for an IG to give an instruction handed to him by Mr. President? And yet, a lot of police officers are not obeying it.
So apparently they are disobeying the C&C.
Exactly. So they need to be punished. But you have a system that does not punish people for crime in this country. That is the problem. That is why the insecurity is festering.
Insecurity, yes. We've been talking about insecurity for the longest time, and we will continue to talk about it until there's headway made in that area. But something just comes to mind. A conversation that has trended on social media over the weekend and for some time now that happened in Outrage, the issue of I can't remember his name now. The man. Yes, Harrison, and Harrison. He's not an official of an officer of the law, is he? No, he's not. And the issue around him negotiating with bandits is that whether monies were taken off and trackers placed, and and then he was arrested, and then they were not even talking about tracing or tracking the tracker. Is that an indictment on the security architecture of Nigeria, where individuals who are non-state actors are now involved in negotiations, ransom payments, and the rest? Do we please let me start off with you, and then we'll spread it around to other guests.
First of all, Moses, how did he get himself recruited into that job?
Exactly.
That's the failure of the security system we have in this nation. This is tracking of kidnappers or terrorists or whatever.
Is he a registered investigator?
It's supposed to be the job of the armed forces and the security personnel. An individual, you don't even know his antecedents. You don't even know his background. Now just came in.
But obviously, it's not the first time. It's not the first time,
but where is he coming from? Where is he coming from?
Maybe a private investigator.
Was he trained by Nigerian government to do that job? He came in and said he's now the one that is now mediating between the kidnapped victim and the kidnappers. How did he get himself recruited? Those are what we are talking about in the studio here. That the system failed and the system got decayed. That anybody that just come in is welcome, whether it's normal or not. The same thing is what we are talking about now. That you are recruiting now. You are trying to recruit some people into the same armed forces now. You are going to pick people on the street who you don't even know where they are coming from. Nobody can evaluate their character, and you just bring them in and give them uniform and give them. So Harrison got himself a job. He got himself a job, and the government allowed him to be using
and he's making videos.
And he was making video and posting it, and he was the one that was now doing the job of the government for the people. Then he got himself overwhelmed because there was nobody regulating him, nobody is checking him, and anybody that is a victim that finds his family in the custody of this kidnapper wants his family to be released. As quickly as possible. So Harrison now got a job that now festered before he got to where he is now.
It's a failed system. It is the system that has failed and nothing else. You have a Sheikh Gumi, you're talking of Harrison. You have a Sheikh Gumi that has been all over the place negotiating. The only difference is that we don't know whether Sheikh Gumi carries the bounty or carries the ransom money. But you have a Sheikh Gumi. It started from there. It started because the system has failed the people. And when the system fails the people must find a way around it. Before now, the police will tell you no ransom is paid. But we now know that ransom are paid.
But isn't that against the Constitution? Because we could recall
Which constitution are you talking about?
The National Assembly have made payments of ransom illegal in Nigeria.
Let us see, if we want to have Nigeria working as a nation, we need to discard that 1999 Constitution. And I'll tell you why. Just as we're talking about the institutions not working, the political class is also aiding the rubbish we have in this country. It is because of the problem you have with the Constitution. That is why somebody would decamp from APC to PDP and retain the title he had in APC. Is that not an aberration?
Okay.
So we must have a system that works. And for the system to work, Mr. President, his ministers, everybody must be accountable. Okay. The problem is that there is no accountability in the system. Nobody gets held responsible. The IG of police by now, if Nigeria was a sane country, should resign. Because what has played out in Edo and Auchi has put the
police so much.
Has dented the Nigerian police. Now the Nigerian police is not going after the kidnappers. Everybody is focusing on 5.4 million. So the money has become the issue. But nobody's talking about the life that is at stake.
All right then. Let's go back to Abuja. Mazi David Ihoma, your thoughts on this, really? You know, the individual, we've had Sheigumi rise to where he has risen to. Now we have a Harrison rising as well. Tomorrow it might be somebody else. It might be Elvis Elimehele negotiated. We've had it. But on a more serious note, how can we solve this problem? Who do you expect to hear from in the immediate and, you know, to douse whatever is going on right now?
Well, Nigeria needs to overhaul its security architecture. I think the bill at the National Assembly to establish state police in all the states that have the capacity to maintain them is a very good bill and should come to light, because if there are securities in various states, in local governments and villages, all these things will stop. The problem is that we don't have the adequate manpower to be able to dictate and nip the criminalities within the state and the board. That is another issue. So I think the only solution we can have to this is to have a formidable security system that ensures security from the state from the state level to the village level. Because if we're able to restrain and impede any attack that can be made of the society. So I think that bill will be a game changer for the Nigerian security system, whereby the state can have at least a reasonable number of security personnel to mount their state from state, local government to village. When there are adequate securities, there is no how a state actor can now hijack or arrogate himself the power to investigate or aid, apart from giving information, relevant information that can lead to arrest of anyone that has alleged to have committed offense. Where there is adequate security, there is no how a non-state actor can now arrogate himself the power to track or investigate offenders or kidnappers.
All right. Then. Thank you very much. Now, Chika, now you are one person. Let's go to Chika now. Chika in Abuja. You're one person who has had quite the fallout with security personnel, and also as a student union member, you've had some confrontations here and there. How can we solve this problem of, the problem that we are having right now? Non-state actors delving into the fray, deciding on who speaks for who, and also the issue of ammunitions in the hands of people. I mean, you were saying the other time, if FRSC decides to bear arms, you too will bear arms. But we know that's not the way to go. But how can we solve this problem that has eaten deep into the security architecture of this nation?
One of the ways these things can be solved is to have the National Assembly doing what it should do, to have the presidency doing what it should do.
Which is what exactly?
One of those things is getting the security architecture working how they should work. Now, it should begin with training and retraining of personnel. It is not about recruiting new people into the armed forces. So, and I am against state police. I am against state police because the governors will use state police to wreak havoc on dissenting voices. I am against it.
Why exactly? I mean, do you think is it because you've been attacked quite a number of times?
Yes. States like Ebonyi will abuse it. States like Ebonyi will abuse it. So it is very wrong, for state police to be allowed to come, because these governors, some of these cultists we bring in as governors, will use the state police and kill democracy more. So I am against it. One of the ways to fight this is not by creating state police, because who are you going to recruit into the so-called state police? These are the cultists that governors use to rig election. You say it. So what Nigeria should do is to start telling themselves the truth. The president should start telling himself the truth. See, there is poor welfare of personnel. Their welfare system is very poor. I can't even pay my PA the kind of thing they are paid as money. So it is very wrong to say that we should recruit more by stopping these things that happen. Okay, let me just tell you something now.
Okay.
Everything in this country has been politicized. Someone, a House of Representatives member, wrote petition against me to the Nigerian police force headquarters, accusing me of being a member of ESN, Eastern Security Network, a serving member of the House of Representatives. So you see that the political class is not even ready. They are not even ready to solve the problem. So there should be this total rejigging of the system. One, let there be welfare package for the personnel, both in the army, both in the police, civil defense, and all of them. Number two, let there be retraining. There should be retraining. Then the third one should be involvement of technology. There should be technological idea. The government should bring in drones. In fact, train some of these personnel
on the
overseas.
usage of some of these things.
Yes, so it is very important, and not we are still operating at the level of awkward practice.
All right.
There should be involvement of technology. So these things are not rocket science, and all of us have to be involved.
Oh well.